Welcome everybody to another episode of How on Earth Can You Read This Much? It is the beginning of December. It's the 2nd, I believe. I mean, it's the 2nd of December. I know what day it is. It's Friday, and I just got home from the lab. But that's not really, why am I so bad at this? Again, hello everybody, and welcome to my December wrap-up video. In case you were wondering, yes, I read a lot of books, but I was also in a reading slump. So it goes hand in hand. So the beginning of the month was really good for me. I read a lot of books, and then in the last 2 weeks, I read one book. Yeah, it's just one book. So I'm going to talk you through all of the 9, I'm not sure, but I'm going to talk you through all of the books that I read this month. Let's go! Also, if my hair is looking a little weird, thank you dry shampoo for fixing nothing. Yeah, I got oily hair. But we're not talking about it. Shh. It's a secret, gotta keep it, won't tell what. I'm sorry. I have this weird thing where I just start randomly singing songs. I'm like a Disney character, but in real life. I'm sorry, I'm like somewhere else in my head. Let's go. As always, we're starting with my least favorite this month, and that was this one. It was an arc. The Urban Boy's Discovery of the Five Senses. I got sent this book, and I don't really want to talk about it. Maybe you love it a lot. I really couldn't. The style of writing wasn't for me. The story sounded so interesting, because it's like these 5 friends, and then all of their senses like get heightened, and they have this extreme adventure, and it's the story is really cool and like a lot like different. But I couldn't get into the story, and I didn't enjoy it at all. So it's just a 1 star for me, and I already feel so sorry. I feel so sorry for bashing books. Like, I'm never gonna be like, okay, this book was just a load of shit. I'm not gonna say, you're never gonna hear me say that, because even though this book is like a 1 star rating for me, and you can't rate a book like worse than 1 star, I'm still gonna like say what's good about it, just because I just like doing that. Otherwise I feel bad, because somebody put a lot of effort in this book, and this might even be somebody's favorite book, so that's just my opinion, I guess. The next book that I have is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. I already talked about this in my readathon, because I started reading this in October, and I did the readathon, and I'm not even sure if I talked about it in the October wrap-up, because I decided to DNF this book. Did I DNF it? No, I read through it, right? I finished the book. I finished this book on November 1st, so maybe I already talked about it, I'm not sure, but I just didn't like it a lot. I already said why in like the readathon video, but just, I couldn't relate to the character. I thought she was annoying. She had issues that I understood it, but in the same sense, like, she made such a big deal out of things, and she never even tried, I believe. So this is about, like, a witch who is, like, this most powerful witch ever, and everybody who comes near her dies for some reason, but it's not like there's any proof for that. It's just that, like, a few people have died in her life, and now she thinks she's cursed. And it just annoyed me. The book annoyed me. Ooh, my doorbell. I'm sorry. That was my book mail. I'm not sure what's in this, but we're gonna open it, because it's exciting. It's a book. Who would have thought? It's The Charm Offensive. I've heard my friend Kate talk a lot about this, and so I just had to get it. And it's beautiful. It's in such good condition. Usually when books arrive here, like, they have like a chipped nick at like the corner, and I'm freaking out about it, but this is looking perfect. I'm excited for this. But this has nothing to do with video, so we're going on with my 2.5 3-star books. I'm not sure. I'm gonna tell you why though. So first up, we're talking about A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. So I gave this a Goodreads rating of 3 stars, because the romance was sweet. The romance was cute. The two of them were kind of sweet together. But this book, it was just, a lot of things about this made me feel so icky. Like, this is like the most cliche sort of romance you can find. These are two extremely rich kids who go to this fancy school, and this is like a high school romance sort of thing with like a really uncomfortable like teacher who's like I don't even want to think about it. Most of these things that happen in this book made me super uncomfortable. There was way too much smut for my personal taste. I wasn't a fan. But the story itself was kind of sweet, but it was also like I knew from the beginning what was gonna happen. Like when you open this book and you see it, then you know what's gonna happen. I personally felt like Crew didn't have like the best personality, so he was just like he was existent. But I didn't really like him that much. He was a little boring. I think he was boring. Next up, we got the same category. We have The Viscount Who Loved Me. This is the beautiful Illumicrate edition. Let me show you up close. The book itself is stunning, and I got these editions purely because they're beautiful, not because I'm really interested in the storyline. I was sort of hoping that the books would be a little more historic than they actually are, because I love things that are set in like this time period and like this, okay, you're like a lord and you're a viscount and this is fun. But what comes with these books is of course the extreme like sexism, racism, everything that's bad, it's in here. These books were written, I think, in like 2002, but I mean, as hell, it's just like there's no diversity, and I'm used to reading books that are extremely diverse, that have all sorts of people of all sorts of like colors, religions, genders, whatever in them, and like there's just nothing in there, and the characters are all sort of plain. I like this one a lot better than I like the first one, just because in the first one Daphne was just horrible, and with this one the main character, I forgot her name, honestly. Let me check it though. No, this is about Anthony Bridgerton. I don't want to know about Anthony. What's her name? Kate. I thought Kate was a lot more fun than Daphne was. She's like a little more outspoken and a little more like a sort of person. I've also seen like the series, and I can tell you that they made it a lot better in like Netflix show, because they first of all put like a lot more diversity like color wise in there. So Kate's just another blonde blue-eyed girl, and they put like more subplots into the Netflix show, which I thought benefited the storyline, because this was just a little boring and nothing really happened, and you know what happens when you open the book again. This is so predictable, and that just makes it a little anticlimactic, I would say. How is it that I always talk way too much about the books that I didn't like, and just like a little bit about the books that I do actually enjoy? Maybe it's just because ranting is much more fun than general saying why you like a book. Anyway, going on to my 4-star reads for this month. So there's just one of them, which is The 99 Boyfriends of Mika Summers. This book is sweet. This is a cute YA romance story that has like sort of a Cinderella vibe, that is also very predictable, but it's just cute, and it made me feel very fuzzy inside. And if you've seen my last video, I like fuzzy books. They're just warm and cozy, and this book gives you this feeling. This is just happiness. This is happiness on paper. I mean, look at them. Also, look at my ring. It's so fun. I'm not sure if you can actually see it, but it's a hug. I mean, look at my ring. It's a hug. It's so cute. My roommate and I got it, and I'm obsessed with it, and I don't take it off. Never. It's a part of me now. Back to the book. This is about Mika Summers, and he imagined 99 boyfriends. He imagined having 99 relationships with boys that he just met, and he made an Instagram about it, and that got pretty popular. He decides that his 100th boyfriend should be a real one, that he should go on his first date, and he just has to find the perfect someone, and this is just so sweet. I especially was a huge fan of the friendship dynamics within this book. It's cute. It's definitely not spicy, so if that's nothing for you, go with this one. It's really sweet. It's just, I enjoy this. We are moving on to my 5-star reads for this. Whoop! Did I hurt you? I'm talking to a book. Okay. We're starting with one I already talked about, which is As Good as Dead. So, As Good as Dead is the 3rd book in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, and let me tell you that I wasn't expecting this. Like, I read a spoiler somewhere of what happens with Pip in this book, and I was prepared, and I was still shook. This was incredible, and this was nerve-wracking, heartbreaking. This was honestly the perfect way to end the series, and I'm so happy that this book exists. It's incredible. And in this book, it's more like, it's not her trying to figure out something about somebody else's issue and somebody else's drama, but this is mostly about her, and this is her, like, getting threats and her trying to figure out her own problem, basically. And this is good. If you're looking for, like, a YA crime series and you haven't picked this up, pick it up. It's very fun. Next up, we have a reread, and it's Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is one of my all-time favorite books. I love the first book so much, and I've never gotten around to reading the rest of the series, which is what I'm doing right now. I could read this all over again. The moment she falls into this arena and her power goes berserk, I love it. I love this book. It's incredible. The amount of stress this gives me every time is just perfect for me, and it makes me feel home. It's a good book. It's a really good book. And I also read Glass Sword. Glass Sword is the 2nd book in the series. It is just the continuation of it, and it's the first time I actually finished this. So I started reading this when I was like 14, and I never finished it because I was like starting to have a real big reading slump. So I had this reading slump for like years, and I only started getting back into reading like about 2 years ago probably. And this book is just also really good. There is a lot of like betrayal and a lot of heartbreak in this. So in this book she's like a little more proactive. In the first book she's a little more naive, and she just gets older. She learns in this one, and I think that's really beautiful about it. And with that, we're already at the last book, which is Loveless. So Loveless is the first book that I actually picked from my like sort of December TBR stack that I made. But this was the first one I picked up, and this took me a while to read. So this is a complete 5-star read for me. Most of the Alice Oseman books are 5-star reads for me. What did I say? Most of them. All of them, with the exception of the novellas, just because they're just a little short. It's just incredible. Like, the representation of an Arrow Ace character is incredible. The way that Georgia finds her way to her sexuality is written so beautifully. And the way that she doesn't understand it at first. Like, she thinks something's broken with her, and I feel like that's the way that, like, most asexuals feel at the beginning. They feel like, okay, something about me is broken, something has to be broken. I don't want this, like, other people want this, and it's explained so well in this book, and Georgia's way of thinking, learning, finding friends, staying true to her friends, like, all of this is so beautiful and heartwarming. And it's just, oh, it's incredible. I might be a little biased because I can relate so much to Georgia, with all the like questioning, and stuff. I don't even have words, but I think what I liked the most about this book was the way that it showed the importance of friendship to Georgia and to everybody, and I was just always like hoping for just the best for Georgia and hoping to see her be happy. You can also tell by the way that I annotated this. There is a lot of post-it notes, a lot of them. There is a page where like they actually explain asexuality in like 3 pages, and it's perfect. So they took the time to write the explanation, and they made up a character who's explaining asexuality to essentially somebody who doesn't know about it. And that's just so nice because that also tells like the reader who maybe wasn't so like invested in the topic of asexuality how an asexual person might feel. Not saying that all of the asexuals feel that way, because we don't. You guys, we don't. But it's just so nice, and I'm still talking about this book because it's perfect. Please read it. Please take this book and just, if you've read this, you can like talk about asexuality and be like, I understand it now, because I do. I understand Georgia. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I make sense anymore. It's super late. My brain is fried. I've been talking about this book for 4 minutes now. Well, fun times, right? And that was it, you guys. That was everything that I read in November of this year. I would say that I did actually struggle because usually I read a lot more, but my lab work started, my schoolwork started, so I didn't have as much time to read as I wanted to, because I got to do stuff. I got to go to my lectures. I got to go to the lab. I got to like do things. I got to have like presentations and stuff. But all in all, I think it was pretty successful. I read 8 books, and I think that's good. That's nice. So tell me about your November reads, about your favorite books. If you have any opinions on the books that I just showed you, what do you think about them? Just put it in the comments, and I will see you next time. Goodbye! Also, I do realize that my bookshelf is still decorated for fall, so I'm gonna do that in the next video. We're gonna like clean out the bookshelf, we're gonna wipe them all down, and we're gonna decorate for Christmas, because it's time, you guys, it's time. Bye! Why am I always still talking at the end of each video? It's a little annoying, but it's also kind of fun. So, we're just gonna stick with it. Okay, now I'm gonna say goodbye, because I gotta go make dinner, and then I'm gonna go to the Christmas market, and I'm gonna clean my room. It's a mess, there's books everywhere. It's a lie. It's just a few books, just like 2 stacks. And some packaging. I don't want to say goodbye, so I'm just sitting here, talking to myself. Well, I'm talking to you guys. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.